Hi, it's Mark from Training Spark. Just taking a look at what's new in version 4.5 of LearnDash. Now we can see from the changelog here that most of the fixes are bug fixes here, so there's quite a lot of bug fixes they've done. And when 4.5 came out, there were actually some conflicts with some of the plugins, some of the Uncanny plugins being the most common. And they did follow this up quite quickly with 4.5.0.1, which address these conflicts with other plugins. So if you are upgrading, head straight for this 4.5.0.1 option, and you should hopefully not have any issues with conflicts. What we wanted to do was just show you some of these features here quickly. So they've added this data sharing and these logging options, as well as a new payments and transactions API. So in this video, I just wanted to show you these top two here. The API, they don't seem to have a huge amount of information on, and it's quite an in-depth feature, that one. So these are ones that you might be more likely to see and potentially use in your day-to-day use of LearnDash. So both of these are found within the advanced settings of LearnDash. So if you head to LearnDash LMS, settings, and then advanced, there are two things here. The first is this data sharing, and what this is trying to do is encourage you to share plugin usage data with LearnDash and Stellar WP, who own LearnDash, so that they can help shape the future of LearnDash and see how people are using it. So up to you whether or not you want to share that, but that's just something that's configurable within the advanced settings now. The other one I wanted to show you here was the option to have logs. And logs are actually quite helpful if you're trying to debug any issues. So what they've got is the option to enable logging for some of the common areas which are, might have issues, and you might be able to might need some additional help in finding where the issues lie. And we've had people in the past who've had issues with data importing and exporting using this import-export feature. And sometimes it's difficult to see from the standard error messages what's gone wrong. So you need to really dig into what the issue is to be able to see. So what they've done is added these logs, which will kind of walk through the process of what LearnDash is trying to do when you carry out any of these tasks. So what I'm going to do is just enable this for data importing and data exporting, so that we can start capturing some logs and seeing what is going on there. So what I'm going to do is head to import export and just export perhaps some quizzes and questions here, just as an example. So this should hopefully be relatively quick to do. So we can see here, export is in the processing queue, reload this page. So that's happening at some point. If we head to the logs and drop down here and go to data exporting, eventually we should start to see that populating once this export starts to run. So it's taking a little while here. I'll pause the video if I need to, but hopefully after a short while that'll start to export. Yeah, we can see that's happening now. So we can see very detailed information about what's going on with this export, and we can see that the export is now finished. But if there were any issues here, then the log is probably the best place to actually find that information. And if you got in touch with LearnDash support, for example, or if you're a developer, this would be really useful for you to help find out what has gone wrong. So if I refresh that, we should see that the export has been completed here. So what I'm going to do is just download that to my computer and browse for it and just re-upload it. And again, we're going to have to wait for this to process. But once that does, we can see in the logs that we'll have a data importing series of logs showing the process for importing those. So that's started appearing now. Import started, and we can see all of the stuff that's happening. We can refresh that, and we can see the import is finished. And if there were any issues here along the way, then we would probably be able to identify that from the logs. If you wanted to delete any logs, we can just click this delete button and then they disappear. And we can enable logs for data importing, data exporting, PayPal transactions, Stripe Connect transactions, and Razorpay transactions. So if you're having any issues with your payment gateways, then that's another way that you can help to identify any issues. So logging is a really useful feature, probably the best feature from our perspective in this upgrade. So if this video helped you, please give it a like. And if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe to the Training Spark YouTube channel.